It is 7:30 p.m. CST on the 3rd of July of 2021. And I welcome all of you to episode 37 of Cast Talks. And welcome back for many of you. So, what is this show, you might be wondering? This is a show where you can hang out and chat or do something in the background, maybe gaming or some chores. And in the meantime, I'll just be talking here by myself for a little while or with chat, like I said. And you don't have to do a thing but listen in and just enjoy yourself. Well, hello there, Playful. How are you doing? And a good evening to you, too. I'm echoing bad. I have no idea what you mean. I sound like I'm in a tunnel. Well, I don't really know. I can't hear that on my end. Let me check. So, we're talking about some 4th of July stuff. Of course, I have one of those things open. Oh my gosh. I figured out the problem. Anyway, yeah, I know, that was strange. I had a voice mod open by accident, my bad. So, today we are doing some 4th of July stuff. We're doing some lovely questions and some cat videos and animal videos that are all 4th of July themed. Yeah, it's alright. I actually didn't have that on to begin with, but it turned itself on, which, you know, what are you gonna do? But I'm glad to see you here, Playful. How has your week been? It's been alright. Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. So, we have some good news stories today as well. And I'll start with those in just a few minutes, but first, I'd like to let everybody in on a little personal thing of mine. So, something that happened, been having fireworks for the past few days. We've been very light this year on the fireworks pre-4th so far. Usually it's crazy, but maybe they got some complaints last year and they've toned it down. There's only been a little bit in the past few days, which I'm fine with myself, but I'm not against seeing fireworks. Canada Day, that's right. Well, I think it's a day that is strangely close to my heart besides all of the normal non-patriot feelings I have, and I can't say why exactly, considering I don't really have any fondness particularly for our government or the system in which we exist as a society, though I appreciate it and live in it very thankfully and willingly. The 4th of July, for some strange reason, has always been this bizarre existential moment of looking back on the year before and the one that is coming still. And it has always been about how far have I come and where am I compared to last year. And I know it's rather harsh to compare yourself to your previous incarnations, but I do think about that every year, and for whatever reason, it's always the 4th that I come back to. Why that is, like I said, I couldn't tell you. Maybe it's the fireworks, maybe it's the themes. It's something though. But I have some very good news to begin with before we start our good news segment. This news comes from me straight from Just Try To. The final total for the 2021 Relay for Life season was $417,122. Jeremy and Lily, which are both two of my favorite people, have been working so very hard, and so have the Relay people. A Relay which we covered a little bit on this stream a few episodes ago. I know, good for them, right? Good for them. And it has been intensely successful, and they have been not only perfectly adequate, but they've gone above and beyond being adequate, and they've gone into acts of heroism, which I find to be inspirational. And as for what exactly you can expect from him in the future, one of these days I will get Gem Starkiller in here for an interview. I don't know when that will be, but she will be able to explain all of the future events that are going on with Relay. They have their off seasons, but their life season is their most important time of the year. And I hope all of you who have participated feel the veneration of your peers and of the people here, because it is a thing worth venerating. It's very wonderful. So we're getting into our good news stories of the day. So here's the first one. From Good News Network, from today actually. Walmart unveils low-priced insulin to diabetes patients who can't easily afford it. So I have to admit, I am a little skeptical of this one, simply because I understand the difficulty of believing any corporate entity could be doing something charitable, let's say. But I do get most of the medications I take from Walmart, actually all of them these days. So let's read about it. Walmart is seeking to bring everyday low prices to medical care. They announced the launch of a version of insulin that will be less expensive to people who do not have health insurance or struggle to afford the cost of life-saving drugs. These products will save customers between 58% and 75% off the cash price of branded analog insulin products, which translates to a savings of up to $101 per branded vial or $251 per package of branded flex pens, said the company in a new release this week. Starting this week, Walmart will be selling its own private label version of analog insulin, a newer, more reliable form of the drug, to anyone who has a prescription. Called Relion Novolog, it will be available at Sam's Club as well in mid-July. The insulin will cost about $73 for a vial, or about $86 for a package of pre-filled insulin pens. We know many people with diabetes struggle to manage the financial burden of this condition, and we are focused on helping by providing affordable solutions, said Dr. Cheryl Pigas, Executive Vice President of Walmart Health and Wellness. We also know this is a condition that disproportionately impacts underserved populations. With Relion, Novolog insulin. We're adding a high-quality medication for diabetes to the already affordable Relion line of products and continuing our commitment to improve access and lowering the cost of care. Relion products include private label, lower-priced versions of blood glucose monitors, lancets, and other diabetes management essentials. According to CNBC, U.S. lawmakers have scrutinized diabetes drug companies in the past, like Eli Lilly and the French company Sanofi, for increasing prices over the last 2 decades, leading Sanofi to roll out a limited price reduction program. Walmart worked directly with manufacturer Novo Nordisk to reduce costs. This price point, we hope, will improve and hopefully revolutionize the accessibility and affordability of insulin, said Dr. Cheryl Pegas, Walmart's Executive Vice President of Health and Wellness. That's a good one to start with. I am lucky enough not to need insulin myself. I have a much different approach to dieting than I have had in the past. In the past, I ate whatever I wanted to, whenever I wanted to. Rissy, I'm so glad you could join us. Hello. We just finished talking about a story about insulin, and I want to wish you a happy 4th. You too, Playful. I forgot to wish you the same. I hope everything's going alright in your neck of the woods. Go ahead and tell me about it if you'd like. Yeah, I was completely out of control for a while, eating basically anything that I wanted to and drinking whenever I wanted to. And it was when I was 23, maybe 23 and a half, after I came back from, you're actually Canadian, so you're 4th on the 1st. Well, happy belated 1st to you then. I didn't know that. I thought they were both on the 4th, but that's very Americo-centric of me to be thinking that. But yes, I think that it was coming back from the hospital, my first trip there. Hopefully my last too. I realized that I needed to eat better, or I wasn't going to start seeing any improvements to my feelings of recovery, and it was really important to understand that life, it can't be sustained on a unhealthy diet, and you have to really work hard to have that strength, but it's worth it because now I am actually very happy with where my diet is, and it makes me feel really good when I can say things about how well I'm eating and how well I feel. I hope that is the same for everybody who has managed to come that far. You didn't know I was from Canada either, so it's okay. Yeah, I actually am just finding that out today. This is the first time I'm hearing of it. But yeah, welcome on in, Rissy. I'm so glad you could join us. So, here's our next good news story. Well, I would give you a big, squishy, warm hug if I could. You know that, right? A big, squishy, warm hug. It's good to see you in chat. I'll be honest, Rissy, it's good to see you in chat. And give a hug to Daisy for me too while you're at it. From 30 million infected, I know, to 0, China is certified malaria-free by the World Health Organization. This is from today as well. Following a 70-year effort, China has been awarded a malaria-free certification from WHO a notable feat for a country that reported 30 million cases of the disease annually in the 1940s. According to the Global Health Organization, every 2 minutes, a sufferer of malaria passes away. But now China has joined the growing number of countries that are proving that a malaria-free future is a viable goal. China's tireless effort to achieve this important milestone demonstrates how strong political commitments and strengthening national health systems can result in eliminating a disease that once was a major public health problem, said Dr. Takeshi Kasai, Regional Director, WHO Western Pacific Regional Office. Globally, 40 countries and territories have been granted a malaria-free certification from WHO, including Australia, Singapore, El Salvador, Algeria, Argentina, Paraguay, and Uzbekistan. Beginning in the 1950s, health authorities in China worked to locate and stop the spread of malaria by providing preventative medicines, reducing mosquito breeding grounds, and stepping up the use of insecticide spraying in homes and in at-risk areas. In 1967, the Chinese government launched the 523 Project, a nationwide research program aimed at finding new malaria treatments that involved more than 500 scientists from 60 institutions. It led to the discovery in the 1970s of artemisinin, the core compound of artemisinin-based combination therapies, ACTs, also tests that I hated, the most effective anti-malarial drugs available today. In the 1980s, China was one of the first countries in the world to extensively test the use of insecticide-treated nets. By 1988, more than 2.4 million nets had been distributed nationwide, which led to such a drastic reduction in the disease that by the end of 1990, the number of fatalities was reduced by 95%. In 2020, after reporting 4 consecutive years of 0 indigenous cases, China applied for an official WHO certification of malaria elimination. Members of the Independent Malaria Elimination Certification Panel traveled to China in May of 2021 to verify the country's malaria-free status, as well as its program to prevent re-establishment of the disease. Effective multi-sector collaboration was also key to success. In 2010, 13 ministries in China, including those representing health, education, finance, research and science, development, public security, the army, police, commerce, industry and information technology, customs, media, and tourism, joined forces to end malaria nationwide. How lovely. Another good one. So, this good news, it does mean something to me because I had a friend, her name was, let's see, you know what, I don't think I should say if I can't remember their name, but I did have a friend who caught malaria at one point, though they didn't have a very at-risk situation, so they were fine. Luckily they had access to these sorts of drugs that can spare you from the worst of it. And they did complain that it was a uncomfortable experience getting the drugs specifically, but when they were through all of it, they seemed to be doing much better, and I haven't spoken to them in a long time, unfortunately, because we just sort of fell apart and or grew apart. But I do think about them, and I hope that they're doing okay now. So that is our second news story. But here is a good 4th of July question for everybody. I think it's more relevant to Rissy than it is to you, Playful, but it will still be somewhat relevant, and I hope that you find a good answer for it as well. What is the first 4th of July that you remember? I'll give you mine. When I was living in California, we were right next to a very large open field. I always felt a little dangerous wandering over there, though, because there was plenty of junk and debris from old projects and unfinished things. But what I do remember is that there was a setup that would happen there every year. They would get their fireworks all lined up, and there would be this lovely little party that would happen. And all around the neighborhood, all around the county, there would be fireworks lighting off into the night sky, popping and booming. And I would sit on the balcony just outside of the computer room on our second floor. I would sit there on the splintery wood and watch. I would watch the fireworks go into the air, rocketing into space. And in that single cataclysmic moment, they would erupt. I remember the blue ones and the red and the white. It's a fondness that I have for it because there was so much freedom, I guess you could say. An explosion is a pretty free thing. It's hard to contain that. And in those moments, you can really find that there's a lot of chaos and energy being thrown around. I would say that's a good thing about fireworks, is that they are so much chaos created from so much rigorous study and talent. Now, the noise is another thing completely. The noise has always been too much for me, but earplugs will suffice that just fine. What I'd like to do this year is I'd like to go out and see the neighborhood park and maybe the ballpark in the 4th of July and go out and experience some new things and see some people. You know, even just seeing people makes me happy. It doesn't really matter if they're, pretty or not pretty, or if I like them or I don't care for them. Just seeing people makes me happy, seeing them going about their lives and doing what they want to do. Let's get back to the stories, though, before we get too sidetracked. Here's one from yesterday. Dog thrown from car in accident is found herding sheep on a nearby farm, by Judy Cole. This is a good one already. How did Sherlock Holmes solve the case of the missing sheepdog? By using simple logic. What do sheepdogs do? They herd sheep. So if a sheepdog were to suddenly vanish, where might one expect to find him? Herding sheep, of course. Alright, for all of you sticklers, we're aware that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle never wrote a story called The Case of the Missing Sheepdog, but when Tilly, a 2-year-old border collie red heeler mix, recently went AWOL after his human and their truck were involved in a traffic accident, he was later located practicing his herding skills on a flock at a nearby farm. Tilly, named for Gonzaga University basketball player Killian Tilly, currently on the roster of the Memphis Grizzlies, was thrown from the Oswald family's GMC Yukon when it collided with a Buick LeSabre last Sunday morning on Idaho State Highway 41 near Rathdrum. Ejected through a broken window, a frightened Tilly ran off through the fields. A very scared doggo, not sure what's going on, I'm sure. A search was mounted almost immediately. Strangers stopped their cars near the site of the crash to help Mike and Linda Oswald look for their lost fur baby. Certainly a distressing turn of events to lose your fur baby for any amount of time. After 10 hours of hunting with no luck, the Oswalds called it a night and headed home, but not before posting a picture of Tilly to Facebook and asking for folks to be on the lookout for their precious pooch. Their plea was shared more than 3,000 times. The following Tuesday, Tyler Potter noted something peculiar going on with one of the dogs on their family farm. An Aussie shepherd named Huey looked a bit off, like his fur was darker. She mentioned it to her brother Travis. But it was only later when another brother, Zane, noticed Huey behaving strangely. Rather than coming when called, the normally obedient hound ran off in the other direction. The Potters began to suspect something unusual was afoot. When the siblings finally put two and two together, they realized that they had on their hands, it wasn't Huey, not being Huey. It was another doggo altogether. Having been privy to the Oswald's Facebook post, they knew immediately the counterfeit shepherd was none other than the absconded Tilly. By pure coincidence, a sheriff's deputy who happened to be scouting for signs of Tilly was passing by just as the Potters reached their stunning conclusion. They relinquished custody of the sheepdog impersonator to the police officer and did not press charges against Tilly for herding without a permit, even though we're fairly certain his enthusiastic but untrained attempts had gone awry and sent several flock members out of the pasture and onto a nearby road embankment. Linda Oswald confirmed the Potter's suspicion. "He'll herd anything," she told the Spokesman Review. "When I go to the dog park, he tries to herd the people into one group." Oh, that's fantastic. I would be herded by a sheepdog. I'm not embarrassed to say it. I'd love that, to be herded around. On Tuesday morning, Tilly was reunited with his joyful family, unhurt and relieved to be home. The only lingering effect of his two-day adventure was a tremendous thirst, which he unceremoniously assuaged by lapping up huge quantities of water from the commode. Ah, the boy wanted to go for the toilet water. Oh, well, I mean, I've heard that animals have a love of toilet water. Whether or not it's good for them or not, I can't say. Regardless, Linda Oswald admitted she'd been heartbroken over the loss of her beloved pet and couldn't thank everyone who kept up the search enough. If pandemic-related social isolation has an upside, Oswald believes it's inspired folks to try and reconnect any way that they can. All of a sudden, I think people saw a time to really jump out and help, even if it was just a small thing like finding a dog, she told Spokesman Review. There's a lot of kind people out there. And so the case of the missing sheepdog is happily closed, without a single elementary, my dear Watson exclaimed. Well, that was a lovely story, if a bit cheekily written. I have never actually searched for an animal in my lifetime. I used to have an animal that would find me more than me finding them. It was mostly from just these excursions I would have. Mostly just wandering around, and they would come. You know, they would be there, and I would be happy to see them. And then we would just have a great time. That's usually how it went. But if nothing else, I understand the importance of finding what's lost. And an animal is certainly on the top of that list as far as finding something that matters. So, here's another good news story from July the 2nd of 2021 by Andy Corbley. A diver gets glorious glimpse of giant sea worm that only comes out at night normally. A giant sea worm? I don't know if I like the sound of that, folks. Honestly, giant sea worms sound a little too much for me. It turns out there are people in the world who, during a dive, choose to swim towards a 26-foot long pink tube coming right for them. You know, that's not me. That's not me in the situation. I would swim the other way. But, you know, some people are crazy, and I appreciate that. Thank goodness for that. Because if there weren't, humanity wouldn't have gotten the video below. Videographer Steve Hathaway and his friend Andrew Buttle were diving off the coast of New Zealand in 2019 when they happened to cross paths with a pyrosome, a sometimes giant, pink translucent worm-like creature. That was so big they could swim through it. Oh my gosh, swimming through a giant worm. Now I've seen everything. Now I've really seen everything. What would normally cause most people to get the heck out of the water was something the two men recognized immediately as totally harmless and actually a rare spectacle. Pyrosomes are free-flowing colonies known as tunicates, which consist of thousands of tiny creatures called zooids that come together to form a sort of frame. Zooids filter feed by pumping water through their bodies and chowing down on plankton, poo, or detritus. This has earned them the envious nickname sea squirts, or cockroaches of the sea. My gosh, what a name. In total, the divers spent 4 minutes swimming around it, an experience that was pretty incredible, Buttle reports to National Geographic. We could see hundreds of thousands of tiny creatures right up close. These creatures and their cousin, the salp, are actually very common. It's just they're normally a few centimeters long. They feed by swimming vertically up to the ocean surface at night and diving back down into the blackness when the sun comes up. A behavior theorized as a necessity for avoiding predation, as the sea squirt has no defense of any kind and is essentially a sort of all-you-can-eat buffet for a fish lucky enough to find one of that size. And that's a big boy, too. One scientist told National Geographic such an event would be as if a human could simply hand on to the back of an elephant whilst eating it. The marine creatures reproduce both sexually and asexually. They are also known for their bioluminescence or ability to glow, but how they form their large colonies is not yet understood. Hathaway, who spotted the translucent form off of Wakari Island, 30 miles from the New Zealand coast, says the rich volcanic waters attract all kinds of sea life in summer times, something that's allowed him to have an 11-year career as a videographer filming animals like mantas and whales. So folks, I'm going to show you this, but I'm going to turn it down. And be wary, this is a pretty creepy thing, so I'm not going to show the whole thing at once. But what I will show is a little something for you. Look at that thing. Isn't that just bizarre? So it makes me think of like some kind of alien creature, but it looks like a floating bag, right? It doesn't look like anything. It's very strange. And it just kind of worms around, doesn't do anything. Well, it's very odd looking, I'll say that much. I have to admit, if I saw this thing in the wild, I would not want to get close to it. But that is the words of somebody who is a bit thalassophobic. Surely this is a strange thing, though, to be a part of this. Well, that was something. So, giant worms and 4th of July fireworks. And you may very well hear some fireworks in the background while I'm doing this stream. Maybe not, though. Let's see. Here's our next one. Declared extinct 100 years ago, DNA found the Gold's mouse still living on sunny islands down under. By Andy Corbley from yesterday. You haven't so far. Yeah, they haven't really been going off, so we've gotten lucky, but who knows, they might show up soon. It must have been a shock when Emily Roycroft's computer began telling her the mouse that has been recorded as extinct for over 100 years was alive and sitting on her very desk. I was quite surprised. Extinction usually doesn't offer second chances, Roycroft admitted. The nation has the highest rate of endangered species on Earth, but Australia's endemic rodent population is still more diverse than anywhere else in the world. However, many species became endangered or extinct after colonists, or rather the animals on board their ships, arrived from England. Gold's mouse was once thought to be such a casualty, and it was a simple investigation into how this came, or was supposed to have come, to pass revealed the error. Using a variety of different specimens from museums and close living relatives, Dr. Roycroft and her colleagues began examining the genetic record of the shaggy-haired, black-eyed mouse and other extinct rodents to see how genetically diverse the populations were at the time before their extinction. A genetically diverse record would suggest that they died suddenly as a result of a disease or natural disaster, while a poor genetic record would suggest overhunting by predators like cats and foxes. The pace of the change would also indicate how many years the decline took. It was the latter that proved the case for Gold's mouse. But something else appeared in the data collected by Roycroft, and that was the fact that the DNA of the Shark Bay mouse was not similar, but identical to that of Gold's mouse. This was a double surprise. First, that the two were the same, and secondly, because the Gold's mouse specimen was collected from the museum in New South Wales, 4,000 kilometers from Shark Bay Island. The hypothesis was that before it became an island, it was part of the continent, and that as the sea levels rose, they trapped the mice there thousands of years ago. ABC added the 2 cents of Dr. Ewan Ritchie, who wasn't involved in the research but who works as a wildlife ecologist at Deakin University, and considered it fantastic news. Given this species occurs in such an isolated and single location, establishing captive breeding colonies and adding wild populations should be a priority, he said. Another good one. I love all these climate stories. They make me feel very, what's the word for it? Very secured that things are going better and getting better. So here's another one. Florida just enacted a sweeping law to protect its vast wildlife corridors and save panthers. By Andy Corbley from July the 1st of 2021. Just a few days ago. From Everglades to Okefenokee, Florida legislators just created one of the biggest wildlife corridors in the developed world with a $400 million funding seed. The Florida Wildlife Corridor Act, signed into law by Governor DeSantis, ensures that animals can travel without seeing a car or a human from the Everglades estuary to the borders with Georgia and Alabama, while protecting existing and new conservation areas, securing natural resources, and more. Between the beach bustle of Miami, Daytona, Fort Lauderdale, and elsewhere, and the lazy waters of the Gulf of Mexico on the western coast, lies a mosaic of swamps, pastures, rivers, farmland, and forests. Among these varied ecosystems, 700 imperiled species live in habitat that may be owned privately, as state recreation areas, and as federally protected wilderness. The total bipartisan support the bill received, typical of American conservation legislation, has seen $300 million worth of secured land to protect these varied ecosystems, as well as to buy new conservation areas or to secure conservation easements, a subsidized incentive to conserve a particular feature on a private acreage. Another $100 million was earmarked. You made it, Ella. Well, howdy, and happy 4th to you. I'm glad that you're here. Your color in the chat is pink, and I love it. We're just getting into our good news before our first break. Good to see you, Ella. How is it going over there, your friends, as well? Happy belated birthday. That's right, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. I shouldn't say what birthday it is unless you're a little worried about it. But you're the new age now. How do you feel? Do you feel good? It's fine. Happy 27. Happy 27 to you. You feel great? Well, I thought you would. You were all worried, but you were worried about nothing. Well, I'm glad to have you here, and I welcome you back. Her birthday was yesterday. Yes, it was yesterday. Well, I welcome you in. You know, you're just in time for some of the good news stories of the day. Another $100 million was earmarked for the General Conservation Program. You were lucky to make it. You were at dinner, as you usually are. Yeah, you do seem to come back from dinner a lot. For the General Conservation Program called Florida Forever, the largest state-controlled public land acquisition program of its kind in the U.S. I've never been to Florida, but I'm worried about the heat, the humidity, and the bugs. For many species, this will be a windfall, especially for the iconic Florida panther, which must roam wide and far in search of food and to secure genetic stability. A beautiful picture of a panther right there. The endangered cats almost went extinct during the 1970s until Texas provided an infusion of genes from their mountain lions. The last remaining subspecies of the puma in the eastern U.S. is maybe the most endangered big cat on Earth. National Geographic reports that a panther in 2016 was found north of Lake Okeechobee for the first time in 43 years, suggesting the species is reclaiming some of its previous habitat in the more northern areas of Florida. The further north panthers in the south can travel, the better for the species' genetics, which have been damaged heavily by inbreeding. The Florida Wildlife Corridor Commission, a conservation nonprofit that was engaged for years in developing the idea of the corridor and how to define it and write it into law, was set up in large part by dedicated photographer Carlton Ward Jr. and some of his friends. For those who want to truly understand the magnitude of importance for Florida wildlife, which the secured corridor represents, they need only watch the excellent 17-minute documentary, The Last Green Thread, produced by the Commission, which highlights the journey up the corridor by Ward Jr. and his biologist friends Joe Guthrie and Mallory DeMint. Ward Jr. also set up the Path of the Panther, a conservation initiative supported by National Geographic to try and save Florida's state animal. Path of the Panther highlights the dangers posed to the cats, including genetic isolation and traffic collisions, and gathered priceless data on population numbers and movements through camera trapping. In his documentary, Ward Jr. at one point explains that moving up to the headwaters of the Everglades, to the I-4 highway, there's a moment when the corridor narrows to perhaps 200 meters before being stopped dead in its tracks northward by the I-4, forcing any migrating animals to trace the highway east for miles before finding a possible crossing point. The new Florida Wildlife Corridor Act specifically designates doing all the following: maintaining wildlife access to these habitats needed to allow for migration of and genetic exchange amongst regional wildlife populations, as well as preventing fragmentation of wildlife habitats, and providing for wildlife crossings for the protection and safety of wildlife. This gives me a lot of hope for the future of land conservation in Florida, Ward Jr. told National Geographic. For those who want to learn more, hop over to the Commissioner's website, watch their documentaries, and pore over their extremely detailed maps of the corridor. I'll put these in here for you guys in the chat, in case you're interested. Well, Ella, I was just talking about my first 4th of July memory, so if you're inclined, share what yours was if you'd like to. Mine isn't all too brilliant, but it does ring some bells about childhood and ideas of the 4th of July, maybe why it has such an important part in my life. Which I do find it a bit strange that that plays such a part of all the things. I'm wondering if I'll see any fireworks from my window. But I'll give you guys a 4th of July story. And this is an ASMR being made up on the spot, so it might take me a moment to get everything figured out. For those of you that really enjoy the smell of fireworks and gunpowder, which I'm not certain if I do, I think it's okay. I want you to imagine that you're in the midst of a sort of state fair situation. People sitting on the roofs of their cars and wandering about with maybe cotton candy in their hands, or a lovely drink or something of that caliber. And ahead of you, you see the nesting tent for the fireworks. You're really close to it, close enough that you can see the tubes and the sockets for the missiles. If you've ever been that close to gunpowder before, you can smell it long before you actually see the firework go off. It's a smell kind of like a chemical, but also it has an intriguing aura. The aura of technology, an ancient art passed down to thousands of years worth of technological marvel in anticipation of this moment. And when you see the striking of the fuse, there's always that childlike wonder of knowing a firework is about to go off. Maybe you plug your ears, but maybe you watch and wait. And in that moment, the hissing of the fuse, that action, the tube ahead of you, a warning of its dangers, but also a forecast of the sight to come. And in that moment where it lights up like a mortar, That flare strikes high and proud, far, far into the sky. And it's something completely unusual to control that kind of dispersal, to control that kind of power. And when it finally reaches its climax, when it reaches the edge of its life, it bursts and it sends out its shrapnel of showering, glowing sparks. And that's a lovely thing. I do feel like I used a little bit more wartime verbiage than I would have liked, but oh well. The 4th of July has always been sort of a strange time of year for me, because I do like the warmth of the summer to some degree, but staying in your bed when it's cold, that's fantastic, or having a heated blanket even more. That's something wonderful. I have never. Chat is laggy. Oh, sorry about that. Well, howdy there, Jeremy. Alright, just try to excuse me. Did you change your name by chance? It's Lily. Well, hello there, Lily. I am so glad that you could make it. We were just talking about the relay's fantastic progress and their final number earlier on in the show. And we're about to take our little break, but I want to know, Lily, what kind of animals do you want to see over the break? Aw, it was amazing. It really was. We did do bears, it's true. We had not mice. Deers, okay, deers, that's just fine. We can do deers. Oh, look at that little fawn. So, Lily, I am happy to say that I have been enjoying today's stream immensely, and I'm enjoying it even more knowing that you're here to enjoy it with us. You know, I always have thought that having a deer as like a familiar or kind of a pet that you could ride around on, that would be fantastic, like a big old reindeer almost. And I certainly like the idea of petting a deer as well. Oh, I would love to see two animals. Hey, yeah. I love seeing animals get along. A deer driving? Are you talking about in Second Life or in a car in real life? Because that's a huge difference. Real life, well, I don't know what you have been up to, but that's crazy. A deer at the wheel. You were driving and you saw the deer at the wheel. My gosh. Well, were they driving well or were they swerving? You know, how was their driving? Was it okay? was driving, the deer was outside trotting along. Oh, oh, you saw a deer while you were driving. Okay, I get it. I get it. Ella, commas are a wonderful thing. You're right about that, Playful. But this is still my favorite thing of today, is not understanding what you meant. Sure. Oh, it keeps talking to you about commas. Yeah, commas are pretty important. I tend to use them quite a bit myself. Oh, so folks, we are at the halfway point. And what that means is we usually like to stand up and stretch our legs out and get something to drink, go to the bathroom, or you apologize to me. Don't apologize to me at all, Ella. I love the misunderstandings that we get into sometimes. They're very good, very wholesome. But make sure you stretch out your legs, you go and do something else for a few minutes, and come on back. Come on back in 5 minutes and we'll continue on right where we left off. And I'll leave a good animal video playing the whole time. So hurry on back, because it's what I'm going to do. And we're back. Well, I have to remember. Oh, earlier today I did a test stream, and I'm glad I did. Thank you very much, Playful. Welcome back to you too. I figured out that everything was working fine, and luckily we're having a great go of it so far. I don't know what that was last week that got us so down though. Such a terrible shame. Hey, Ranger Pirate 1. Thank you so much for following. Oh, man. You hope people watching these videos do remember that deers are wild animals and they shouldn't really try to make them their friends. You saw a rabbit earlier today. Awesome. You're right, Lily. Though these are particularly domestic animals, they are still wild and are still living their own lives. Aw, it's true, they are very cute. Would you like to see some bunny videos, Lily, now that we've mentioned it? Aw, you always want to see bunnies? Well, we've got just the thing for you then. Aw. I like how big their ears are. I've always liked bunny ears. Aw. I love seeing animals that become friends. That's one of my favorite things. I like how the stream is full of that. I know, right? Kitties. And welcome back, Rissy. You made it just in time for the bunnies. Aw. They always look so neutral and passive to me, bunnies. Like they're always going around doing their own thing. Just chilling out. Aw, they love each other, don't they? That bunny is really chill. Oh, chewing on that. That's a big bun bun. It's true. That is a big bun bun. I gotta help with the mail. Oh yeah, yeah. Aw, eating the mail. Gotta stop that bunny from being your mailman. Look at me not turning my phone off. But yeah, You want a bunny? Well, one day you will get your wish, I promise you. You will get a bunny. Yeah. And it will be a good thing for you because bunnies are fantastic. Bunnies are amazing. I had a Angora rabbit named Leon at one point, and it was so great. Aw. Oh, if you are allergic to bunnies, you can still find them and be their friend. It's just you have to stay away from them. You have to admire them from a distance. Aw, look at that bunny. He wants a head rub. It's alright, you don't have to know. Carrot breath, that's pretty good. Toy told you that he had a bunny named Scooter because he would scoot more than he would hop, and he had a doggy, and the doggy named Scooter was bestest friends. Well, I imagine that animals that get along have that loyalty that is not understandable to us. And it is very cute, it's true. The loyalty of animal friends. Aw. So gentle. Rabbits are so gentle. A veterinarian for bunnies. I'm not sure where those are actually. You had a bunny and named it Cat before. Well, I think Cat is just a fine name for a rabbit. Aw, he likes the sports because of the grass. That's amazing. That's great. You had a cat named Mouse. Oh, lovely. That's a good name. Alright, folks, we're going to get back into our good news. Thank you so much for watching those with me. Those were great. They were really good. So, here is our next good news story. Chinese monk dedicates life to rescuing 8,000 dogs. He finds new homes for them around the world as well. Here's the story. I'm actually going to put this on a little window capture for you guys to see. Let me know how you like that, because that's a new thing I like to try. This is by Andy Corbley. A karmic war chest will be waiting for one Buddhist monk who spent decades rescuing stray dogs in Shanghai and bringing them to his monastery to live in peace and comfort, or to find a new home. Since 1994, Xi Jiang has rescued over 8,000 homeless pooches from the streets of the Chinese megacity, caring for all of them. In Buddhism, the highest goal is to reach the fourth stage of consciousness, whereby the trappings of reality fall away as the practitioner realizes life is merely an illusion. Yet the holiest of monks, the Bodhisattvas, don't choose this path, and instead, like 51-year-old Shang, remain in this world to try and help people stuck in the cycle of life to escape. With help from volunteers and his own Bao temple workforce, Shang currently cares for hundreds of cats and dogs, costing nearly 2.5 million every year in labor and supplies. Shang tries to get as many of them as he can into family homes overseas, using social media to reach out to prospective pet owners. So far, 300 dogs have been adopted by families in Canada, the United States, and Germany. That is a low-res video. There we go, it's a little better. Aww. A monastery for dogs. That's a lot of doggies, yeah, it's true. Look at all the dogs they have. A lot of dogs, it's true, a lot of them. Stray animals are neither caused by people who dislike animals, nor by the government, but by the so-called dog lovers. If they adopt a dog without sterilizing them, without proper animal care and concept, they are getting dogs and then abandoning them when they don't want to raise it anymore. Look at all those dogs. I feel sad seeing them in the cages, but they're going someplace good at least. Since 2019, he's been sending some strays abroad for adoption. Oh, look at the monk and the dog. I feel they're very happy now, so I feel it's worthwhile. But of course I miss them even more. I have this dream that one day when I have free time, I want to go abroad and visit every one of them that I rescued. Oh, look at him, he's crying. Oh, what a bro. And take some photos. Oh. This man deserves good things in life. It's lame inside. How do you decide to give up on living beings? If you don't have the funds or proper living conditions, do not get a pet. I agree with you. So it is important to remember that people and animals have a very complex relationship. So complex that sometimes it is difficult to understand why people make bad decisions regarding animals. But something I can tell you is that most people have good intentions. They do. It's just that somewhere along the way they realize how difficult it actually is to care for another living being. And sometimes people make mistakes and they don't know how to live with them, so they just let them go and assume they'll be fine. But in reality, it is much better just to not get one at all, or to take care or foster an animal for a short time so someone else can take care of them after. It's why you should always spend some time around someone else's dog and take care of someone else's animal for a short time before accepting the responsibility of taking care of an entire animal by yourself or with a partner. Even a family pet can be a lot to deal with. I know that from experience. If you do realize you can't take care of them, then you can very easily have someone else take care of them instead of chucking them onto the streets. It's true. At best, you can realize that you are not capable and move on. And when you move on, there's always a chance for an animal to end up someplace it can have as a forever home. And I can only hope that every animal that deserves that, which is every animal, gets that at some point in their life. But yes, not a trained vet, Chong loves and cares for the animals he saves as if he was, and while many are too sick The younger or healthy ones move on to adoption shelters or straight into the arms of a new owner. Yeah, Shen, if you're gonna get a puppy or a kitten, you really need to watch some videos first, because they will eat and chew and chew and eat, and you have a kitty-proof your home. Yes, you do have to animal-proof a lot of your house. It's why, like, people with computers and stuff need to animal-proof their wiring and things like that, because they love chewing on things. A lot of smaller animals especially love to chew things. Especially hamsters and guinea pigs. They love to chew things, and it gets them into trouble. I think they're very happy, so I feel it's worthwhile, he told ABC Australia. But of course I miss them. I have a dream that one day, when I have some free time, I want to go abroad and visit them and take photos with every dog that I rescued, he said. So when I get old and can't walk, I have these photos to look at. If indeed karma rewards those who sacrifice their own time and wealth to help alleviate the suffering of animals, that which Shang awaits in his afterlife is greater than anyone he can imagine, and rightly so. He's a hero, I think. And here's our next story. That's something I want to do with my time. Oh, that's lovely, Lily. It is a lovely thing to want to help animals or to help anybody. Amputee who can only walk for 20 minutes at a time climbs England's 3 highest peaks. This is by Good News Network from June the 28th. An amputee who can only walk for 20 minutes at a time has climbed England's 3 highest peaks, a feat that took him 27 hours. 42-year-old Ben Lovell had never climbed a mountain, and in 2017, he had to have his right leg amputated due to a blood clot. These days, the strain on his leg means he can walk 20 minutes, covering about a mile, before he has to take off his prosthetic and rest before climbing again. But the former road worker scaled the Lake District's Helvellyn in 7 hours, Scafell in 9 hours, and Scafell Pike after another 11 hours of trekking. The father of 2 raised thousands of pounds to pay for kids with prosthetic limbs to join his fitness boot camp and holiday retreat in Tenerife called Amp Camp. Oh, that's awesome. The Yorkshire man said, "It's never about how long it takes me. It's about getting it done." Helvellyn was really hard and pretty scary because we lost the track and ended up climbing the side of the peak. Oh man. But look at him there. He's done it. He's gotten to the top. I was in a lot of pain, but that's a mental thing, and you've just got to get past it. Walking on boggy ground, he explained, it puts such a strain on your other joints and other leg, and using crutches, which I've had to do. It's really hard on your back and shoulders. After Ben's amputation 4 years ago, he suffered anxiety and depression, but now goes to the gym 5 or 6 times a week. In the past few years, he's completed a sponsored 13-mile walk around a reservoir on crutches and a 15,000-foot parachute jump. The reason he founded Amp Camp with these holidays, we just want to give people a place to go where they can feel safe and confident, and where they can relax without stigma. And if you need to take your leg off for a bit, everyone understands. That's pretty great. We've only got 3 left to go. Oops. This story reminded me, you gotta see the Google Doodle today before it changes. It's a doodle honoring the creator of the Paralympics. Well, let's look at it now. Oh, lovely. I like that. 2 hours, 10 minutes, all changes. If you click, you can read about him. Sure. Ludwig Gutmann. Gutmann, let's say, was a German-British neurologist who established the Stoke Mandeville Games, the sporting event for people with disabilities, that evolved in England into the Paralympic Games. A Jewish doctor who fled Germany just before the start of the Second World War, Gutmann was the founding father of organized physical activities for people with disabilities. Well, lovely. Thank you so much for showing that to me, Lily. Oh, well, of course. I like to have as many interesting stories as possible on here. So let's get into the next one, okay? See if you like this one just as much as the other one. Simple blood test that can detect 50 types of cancer is now accurate enough to be rolled out. By Andy Corbley from June the 28th. Whereas a cancer screening requires making an individual appointment with a physician, this simple blood test can screen for 50 separate cancers and detect them at a rate well above the average for tests. Researchers have been working on this for years, reporting on a large study released in March of 2020. GNN learned that if we could achieve earlier detection for just half of cancer patients, we could save millions of lives every year worldwide. Aimed at individuals who are age 50 plus, the ease and thoroughness of the test process can help detect some difficult to diagnose cancers when they're in their early stages, such as some blood cancers, ovarian, head and neck, and pancreatic cancer. Development by a US biotech company called Grail, the trials of around 3,000 people looked for small leaks of altered DNA that seep from tumors in the bloodstream. Developed by a US biotech. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I hope so too. The test uses machine learning, a type of artificial intelligence, to look for changes in DNA methylation. DNA methylation is a record of changes, often damage, which DNA experiences over its lifetime, and is being theorized as a possible detector of cancer, but also as the truest marker of biological aging. Some cancers, like pancreatic, were detected with 63% accuracy even at stage 1. Critically, the most successful rates of detection were found in non-solid tumors, i.e. tumors for which there are no screening methods, like liver, pancreatic, and esophageal cancers. Best of all, fireworks are already going off, yeah? Nice. Best of all, the false positive rate was less than 0.07%, compared to this to 10% for mammography, and the test was able to detect the location in the body where the cancer was growing at a rate of 90%. Another trial of the Grail test conducted by the UK's National Health Service and of 140,000 volunteers recently wound up, and those results are expected in 2023. In a statement, the NHS cancer chief Peter Johnson said, "This latest study provides further evidence that blood tests like this could help with the NHS in their need for ambitious targets of finding 3/4 of cancers at an early stage, when they have the highest chance to be cured." The data is encouraging, and we are working with Grail on studies to see how this test will perform in clinics across the NHS, which will be starting very soon. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. Well, I have heard that there's a lot of great things going on with stuff like this. And cancer is something that I think everybody has a worry about at one point or another. And hopefully that in the future or in the world we live in, cancer will become really easy to detect and really easy to catch before it becomes much more difficult to cure. Especially because curing is becoming better and better too. I think we're warming up to the idea of it, and we'll get much, much further as time goes on. Let's go on to our next one. This wonder tree is a game changer for rainforests, agriculture in Honduras, and deforested sites worldwide. There's a wonder tree in Honduras that's acting as a game changer, creating organic farming livelihoods, climate resistance, and hope to farmers in the Central American nation and elsewhere. Because of the tree, the oft-used method of tropical land clearance, which tragically tends to yield one good crop without another one ever following, is being replaced with another form of agroforestry that ticks every box, and which has rural farmers running towards regenerative farming methods. This form is called Inga alley cropping. It has been pioneered by a British surveyor in Honduras named Dr. Mike Hands, and the method is built around one special tree class called Inga. This member of the legume family contains over 3,000 varieties, and its endemic characteristics gave Hands the basis of his revolutionary form of agroforestry. It would go on to be described as the tropical equivalent of turning water into wine by The Independent and The Guardian, who named Hans to be one of the top 50 humans saving the planet. In the 80s, he worked in about a dozen tropical countries, and everywhere it was the same story of slash and burn, where a family could raise a crop one year, and then the next year the crop failed, and scientists couldn't explain why, says Lorraine Potter, a spokesperson for the Inga Foundation, a non-profit looking to transform the lives of rural Honduran families through Inga alley cropping. 250 million farmers worldwide are estimated to practice slash and burn agriculture. The carbon released from the burned trees and soil is calculated to contribute to 73% of the greenhouse gas emissions from the developing world's agriculture. He was trying to figure out why these systems failed, and why families had to keep burning 3 acres one year and then another acre the next year. Oh, there's one. He made a breakthrough and found out it was the phosphorus that was depleted, says Potter, one of the 17 essential nutrients for plants, and the one whose functions cannot be performed by any other plant. And it can't last long without adequate phosphorus, and it would turn out the phosphorus in the soil was being depleted or washed away without being properly replenished. Oh, this is a long story. Okay. Dr. Hans would go on trial a dozen different species, to trail a dozen different species before setting on Inga, despite being cautioned against it. Potter explains that an Inga alley is like a bowling alley, where the gutters are is where the trees grow, and in the lane is where the crop grows. Hans' configuration of placing the trees just 20 centimeters apart, less than that most seeds packets would advise for cabbage plants, created the perfect condition for both food crops and cash crops. But why, and how does it work? It starts with the sheer uniqueness of the Inga tree. Inga can grow up to 25 feet in the first year of its life, and it's tolerant of poor soil conditions, heat, drought, and flooding. Its broad leaves partly shadow the ground below, enough to prevent crops from overheating and weeds from taking over, but not enough to block out the sunlight from reaching the crops. Being a member of the legume family, Inga is a nitrogen fixer. This means it pulls nitrogen out of the air and stores it in its roots, where a family of bacteria add a hydrogen atom and convert it to ammonia, allowing plants to consume it. All plants need nitrogen. It's why fertilizer is made, and nitrogen fixers are a necessary part of any permaculture or regenerative agricultural model. There's fireflies outside of my window. It's about 16 to 18 months of life. The Inga trees in the alley are cut to chest height, giving families all the firewood they need, and covering the ground in leaves, which decompose and re-energize the soil below. The first year they recruited 40 families. The families were concerned. Oh, there's just so much left to read. The families were concerned. How does planting trees give them food? Says Potter, explaining the infancy of the Inga Foundation, which recently won the Ray C. Anderson Next Gen Award, along with a $100,000 grant to practice Inga alley cropping. So they planted half their crop with the Inga alleys, and the other half they did their normal slash and burn planting. There was a horrific storm of about 6 inches of rain. It washed away all their slash and burn crops, but they got a crop with their Inga alleys, said Potter. So everyone immediately wanted to plant the rest of their land with Inga alleys. After that, she would say, no more families would have to be recruited, and now there are 300 families in the surrounding valleys practicing Inga Valley cropping. So far, the methods of Inga alley cropping have been adopted by farmers in Honduras, Peru, Belize, Bolivia, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Mexico, Nicaragua, Madagascar, DR Congo, Uganda, Sierra Leone, Cameroon, Laos, and Sarawak. Following the realization that they could plant all their normal food crops with the Inga alleys, the farmers turned towards cash crops. They've so far grown black peppercorns, cacao, turmeric, chilies, cardamom, vanilla, citrus, and other produce. This generates legitimate revenue, allowing the farmers to improve their lives. These products are awaiting organic certification, which they meet easily due to the regenerative nature of the model, both in terms of natural weed control ending the need for pesticides and herbicides, and the use of organic fertilizer during the trimming season. Interestingly enough, as the success of the Inga alley cropping has grown, the farmers have begun pushing the envelope. Some have started growing low-maintenance fruit trees, while others are actually reforesting the areas of land they used to decimate with fire. Others are planting hardwoods to augment the forest environment and provide further opportunities for income and food security. These include Cordia megalantha, which used to make high-quality furniture, but also produces sweet-ish tasting fruit, and other luxury hardwoods like mahogany and dalbergia. Mahogany, I've heard of that one. It may be largely, but about generating food and an income for the farmers, but the world benefits from their efforts. As between 2012 and 2019, the Inga Foundation has calculated that over 284,000 tons of CO2 have been sequestered or avoided through the use of Inga alleys. The number will come to 450,000 tons by the end of 2021. It's truly amazing what one man in the right place, next to the right tree, can do. Let's look at another one, another cool video. Let's be wary of how loud it is, though. Yeah, the slash and burn has been really dangerous for a long time. I want to see the Inga, though. No, I don't like that one. Okay. Time for a good one. This is our last news story of the day. By Good News Network from June the 27th. The hero who jumped into the bay to save a toddler is honored to accept a ride with the Thunderbirds. They were offered a ride with the Air Force Thunderbirds acrobatic jet team, who gave them an unforgettable ride on Friday. Despite being afraid of heights, Jonathan Bauer jumped 25 feet into the As-a-Woman Bay. That's a weird name. After a car accident flung a baby into the water on May the 2nd. He saved the girl's life, and news of Bauer's heroic, quick-thinking actions sparked the iconic Thunderbirds to offer their own thanks. They presented him with a ride in the back seat of an F-16 as part of the Thunderbirds' Hometown Hero program. Jonathan Bauer is our hometown hero for the Ocean City Air Show, declared the group's unofficial Instagram account. His selfless act shows the best America has to offer, and we're proud to have honored him with a flight today. Oh, there's fireflies outside of my room. I can see that they're oh, they're so cute. They're so pretty. Right on top of my planner, too. You don't ever want to be in something that moves that fast. I understand. It's a scary idea to be going above the sky so quickly. On his 45-minute flight, Bauer continued to defy his fear of heights, experiencing the thrill of hitting up to 7 Gs, along with accompanying twists and spins of the best roller coaster ride imaginable. My gosh. Too much for me. Look at that, though. You seen an article today that says some people are working on domestic travel at the speed of sound. You're like, oh no. Well, it's something like this. You're just flying through the air, and it's just, it's crazy. I want to watch that again. Just look at him. Look at that awesome speed. Only take you a minute to get to Europe that way. Well, I guess you're right. It sounds like a good thing, but I don't know if I would like it in practice. Gosh. No way. I am incredibly excited to be given this opportunity, said Bauer, the native of Southwest Pennsylvania who works at Atlantic General Hospital in Maryland, and was also awarded a governor's citation for his actions. That's it, folks. That's all of our news for today. So I want to ask, does anyone have any questions for me for the 4th of July? Any at all? I'm happy to answer any of them. And while we're at it, let's put on some more animal videos. Ooh, a guinea pig video. Straightening out your guinea pig. Aw, such a long boy. Do you have vegan hot dogs? Do you like hot dogs? Well, I have liked hot dogs in the past, and I do think they're really great. You know, they're a classics type of food, classic American food. You know, if you can imagine anything more American than apple pie and, you know, pizza, not pizza necessarily, apple pie and, you know, hot dogs, and I mean, that's about it. That's about as American as I can think of. And I think they're great. I don't eat them anymore, of course, but I would love a vegan hot dog every now and again. That sounds great. In fact, I should have gotten some this year, but I haven't gotten them yet. You know what? I'm going to the store tomorrow, so I might get myself a vegan hot dog. Thank you so much for reminding me they exist. I might just go get one. That would be great to have on my 4th of July as a vegan hot dog. Oh, look at those cats. It is a thing, actually, it is. I've had them before, and they're actually pretty good. Some of them are made with tomato, and they're very tomatoey. You can't have a 4th of July without hot dogs, I agree. You can't. Well, Lily, do you like hot dogs? Are you a hot dog girl? Because I think that everyone should at least try a hot dog once, no matter who you are. Those fireflies are pretty. They're actually the flashing fireflies and not the constant fireflies. You like them, and Mr. Jeremy likes them. Mackenzie likes them. The Queen likes them. All right. You know, I've never met the Queen. Mackenzie is crazy about hot dogs. Aw. I'm sure she's busy being a queen, though. Here's a golden retriever puppy attack. Aw. Look at that. Mackenzie made her icon in Discord 2 giant plain hot dogs, just how she likes them the best. Look at that. Overwhelmed by by golden retrievers, by puppies. That's a good place to be. Aw. You know, I want to be there someday, overwhelmed by puppies. That's where I'm going to be someday. Let's find one more good bunny video. Woman rescues 2 bunnies at the 10. They smell like a farm. Those bunnies need a bath. Aw. Oh, Lily, I wanted to tell you, I really enjoyed running on the Relay for Life with you, on the relay, and that was one of the highlights of that month for me, the month of May. And thank you so much for doing that. Oh no, the big clump of fur. The fur is moving. Did I get my reward? I actually haven't checked that yet. My turtle award? No, I didn't get any awards, but I should check if I did, shouldn't I? I got a turtle award? I didn't even know that. Oh, okay, thank you. For doing 1 lap. Well, I am a happy turtle to have done 1 lap. I'm more than happy to have done 1 lap with you. 8 babies at once. 8 babies. 8 baby bunnies. Look at them. Look at them. They're all like trying to get around. They're all wiggling around. There's more fireworks going off. But yeah, that was fantastic. I really loved that. Oh my gosh, Tinder for animals. What is that? What is that? I don't know, but it's interesting. Well, folks, we're coming close to the end of our stuff here. Let me find one more good video for you. Bunny and golden retriever dog do everything together. Okay, let's do it. Send Miss Jen a message. Her is offline. I will try to get a hold of her because you need to get your turtle award. Well, thank you so much. I am really looking forward to it then, because I haven't ever gotten an award on Second Life for really anything, besides some random money from winning costume contests I never even got into. I'd be more than happy to have that award though. That'd be great. Yeah, the dress-up contests are fun. I used to win them without even trying. Like, I would just go to places and I would win them, and people would pay me, and I'd be like, wait, what happened? I didn't even know where the money came from, because I was just hanging out. That's right, Lily. I remember you going to dress-up contests all the time. I just remember that. Oh, that's so good. That's fantastic. I love seeing him hop around. Oh, you host them during relay season. I'll have to come to one of them. I hope I can come and see one of them at some point. You're gonna make it happen, well, good. Let me know if I can be of any help for you. I understand. It will happen though someday. I believe in you. A dog in the water. Next year. Sounds great. I believe in you, Lily. I think you'll make it happen. Aw, that's a nice dog right there. Oh, I saw a firework. I saw one. It was pink. Oh my gosh. Fireworks going off outside my window. Dog eating lettuce, yeah. Yeah. They're actually pretty great, aren't they? Let's watch this armadillo one real quick. Look at this armadillo. You don't like that many people, so I don't go to fireworks shows, but you own a fireworks system on Second Life, yeah. Oh my gosh, more fireworks. Awesome. You have them, but you've made some really cool textures from fireworks pictures from SL. Awesome. I really like seeing the crazy stuff people do, and sometimes fireworks are one of them. And you should send me some. I'd love to see those. Oh, look at that armadillo. You're visiting friends at the beach tomorrow to see the fireworks at 4th of July show, bringing big headphone with you so you don't go deaf. Yeah. You don't want to go deaf. I'm definitely going to wander around and try to find a place to go hang out for the 4th of July with headphones on or earplugs. I'm going to be sitting in front of my window watching the fireworks for a little while. Well, I have to say, this has been a really good show for you guys, and I love you folks. I love you, Lily. I love you, Playful. I love you. Hey, I love you, Ella. I love you, Rissy. You guys are all great. This has been a great show. Aw, the swimming armadillo. Aw. I'm glad to hear it. Playful, I'm glad to hear it. We all want to be as happy as that armadillo in the warm bath. I did. I think I accepted it. I'm pretty sure I accepted it. Sending you a folder named Free to pass around. It's got 6 textures in it. Okay, cool. I'll check them out. So, guys, I want to say we have had a great time. Oh, fireworks, wow. Oh, wow, it's a lot of them. Oh my gosh. They're really popping off now, so I guess it's time to get going. Oh, great stream as always. Thank you so much, Ellie. I hope you have a great time tomorrow. And it's been great having all of you, but we've come to the end of our time. And, you know, it's great being here. It's great doing this. It's great having a great stream. And you guys are the best. So, thanks for coming. Have a great night. Stay safe. And as always, take care. See you next time. Bye-bye. Mwah.